Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon. We want to thank Rabbeinu Rav Eli Wallace, also known as Eli Chalas, from Yeshivat, Maryland, and to know that we're going into Parsha Vayigash 5785. And we're here with Zevel, known as Garbage Can. That if you view yourself as garbage, then the main word you're going to use is can. When you view yourself as someone that is unsuccessful and you don't think that you finished, then you can. The biggest word that Reb Zevel uses is can. I can go to wash you and view it as a yeshiva. So we want to go into Parsha Vayigash, and we're going to ask our Rebbe Reb Zev to clarify the big question. What's the big question?
The biggest question of Vayigash.
The biggest question of Parsha Vayigash is... Okay, so he didn't want to say it out loud, he was embarrassed. What he wanted to say is, what happened at the moment that Yehuda stood in front of Yosef that caused the change of the story? Till now, every time. The brothers came to Yosef, he slapped them up. He took them down. He embarrassed them. He drove them crazy. Suddenly Yehuda stands in front of Yosef, starts to cry, and the story changes, and they start to build. So Zevel's question is, what happened? What happened at the moment?
How did Yehuda? How did Mashiach come from Yehuda?
Yeah.
When?
So the question that Zev is asking is, what happened when Yehuda stood in front of Yosef that created the change in the story? It says the Sfat Emet in the year 1880, also known as the birthday of Zev Kupperman, born in 1880. The blonde hair is actually gray. Right now going on 145 years. It says, Vayigash Elav. These words are going to reveal the difference between before and after. What is Vayigash Elav? Ki be'emet az, Sarah kinata shvatim al Yosef. The world war between the brothers ended with the words Vayigash Elav. Vayigash Elav meant that there was a very big question. Yehuda and Yosef are polar opposites. Yosef is the presentation of consistency. Yehuda is the presentation of surprise. And in all our lives, we're dealing with these multiple or dual questions. The consistent and the surprise. Which one is meant for which? Till now, Yosef was ruling over. And he was showing that consistent is the goal. And because of this, everything was falling apart. Yehuda Vayigash Elav means that Yehuda said to Yosef, you never again can view yourself as the goal. You are preparatory. You are preparing for Yehuda. As it says later in the Parsha, Vayishlach et Yehuda Goshna Lefanav. The mindset switched. It wasn't that Yosef was the Kutonet Pasim, that he was the primary. He was the enabler. But if he views himself as the goal, he's the disabler. As long as Yosef viewed himself on top, everything fell apart. Yehuda comes over and says, Vayigash Elav, he erases Yosef's name. And he goes and says, clearly, I am not afraid of you. I realize you are a great ingredient in the story of redemption. Consistency is beautiful. But it's in order to have the room and the space for Yehuda. The bracha we want to give Reb Zevel, the bracha we want to give Rabbeinu Rav Eli Wallace Chalas, to realize we have a great question. Before Vayigash Elav, we thought the goal was to consistency. After Vayigash Elav, we learned that the difference now is that Yosef is excited to enable the endless surprise. We need to surprise ourselves. We need to surprise our families. We need to surprise the world. We need to surprise not by creating something external, but by believing that the internal, although it's not as strong as the external, is more important. It's the greatest surprise, inner surprise. Shall be Zocha Bezrat Hashem from the lights of Hanukkah to remember that Yehuda is the celebration of Hanukkah. Yehuda Maccabi, the celebration of Chashmonaim, that we're able to stand up and say, we are losers, but we are bigger than Greece. We're Ma'atim. We're nothing. But we know that the surprise is always an option. We should stop eradicating the surprise from life. We should believe that Bezrat Hashem there could be big surprises in this war like there has been, and Bezrat Hashem also will be. And we should be consistent, obviously, to create room for the surprise, but not to exchange it. Shabbat Shalom.